Alright guys, welcome to today's video. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group, and it is Thursday, February 21st. So, where to start? Why don't I go through some of the earnings reports today? The earnings report, as I was just saying on Twitter and in the room, had basically something for everybody today. Just a lot of names reporting. A couple of so here's the ones that I played. I'll start with those. Played TTD, which looks like this is in good shape. What I did was, a lot of these, I play earnings a little bit different. What I try to do as many times as possible when I see something that might be strong, you have to, and I don't know if everybody knows this about earnings, but the options will get super, super expensive. And this is something that you should know if you are trading earnings or if you're trading options around an event, such as earnings. What will happen is the options will get super expensive depending on the name, right? So if a name like TDD moves a lot for earnings, and I'll bring this up here in just 1 second, but if a name moves a lot, the market makers are really going to make the options super expensive. So most of these plays that I do, it's either going to be buying a call spread, selling a call spread, or if I'm bullish a name, selling a put spread and taking advantage of this. But you could see this name really moves. There's a couple quarters where this thing moved 23%, 43%. So how do you think the market makers are going to, price this thing out? We're very organized here at Tribeca Trade Group. So if I go over to my earnings channel, you could see that I post as many of these as possible. They were expecting a 12% move. So what did I do? I sold the 150, 145 put spread. I collected $2.50. So that's per one lot. That's risking $250 to make $250. So it's really taking advantage of that. Now again, when I do something like that, it's not skewed towards if I would have went on the call side. And maybe done a $5 wide call spread. I could have used the implied move to basically judge where to kind of buy that. And I think whatever I would have done here would have worked, either buying a call spread or selling a put spread. I decided to do selling a put spread. That's fine. I'll make some nice money on that. The other trade that I did, but basically that's how you kind of have to go through this. And this is what we do on every earnings day. I try to go over the most notable ones. Caesars was another one that we were looking at. But I've got a whole list of these. The other one that I did was DXCM because it's got really good earnings history. This one may take a little bit. I don't see it really moving too much. That's okay. I'm in a March call spread, so I've got some time. But I really like the chart. I was actually looking at this about a week ago for a call spread, just to go over a few other names. I like how price kind of failed to break out of the top of value, but came back into support. So I liked how it wasn't extended. What else? We'll go over the China names that just reported. We'll go over OLED as well. So IQ. Some of these, it's really difficult to know how they're going to react. Even if you see good numbers, you can see IQ is actually down now a little bit. Baidu had really good numbers, but again, sometimes, just like sometimes we've been seeing bad results and the stock was up. Baidu looked like they had really good numbers, so I would think that they would be going higher. Baidu. There we go. Fourth quarter profit per ads 192 versus estimated 174. So they look like they had really good numbers. But who knows? They could say something in their earnings call that could say different. They could be down, just like you saw IQ. OLED. So just like I was talking about, and again, this is something that we go over more in the trading room. But OLED, look at what somebody did here. So I would never do this. Because of the implied, look at the implied volatility on these. If it even does it show it on here, the the implied volatility is 266%. So they paid 620 for these. Now again, I don't know what their picture it was. This was a sweep. It looked like they were bought, but you can disguise flow all the time. But these were the 119 calls that expire tomorrow for 620. So where do they break even? They've got to get up to what, 125.20. So it's basically right where it is. So even though you see this thing up big, the only way to really capture this whole move is basically going long stock, which is really difficult. Or you can do what I do and kind of go long call spreads. This name's coming in a little bit. I didn't think that their numbers were that great, but it is what it is. Sometimes these names just want to fly after earnings. What else reported? Let's see if I've got my movers. They may not have that, but I tell you, there's something for everybody with the amount of names that reported. Stamps.com is another one. Let's see if I've got the movers. I don't think they put that out yet on Bloomberg. HPE was another one. That's also up. STMP is down pretty decently. Oh, I thought that was up. It's actually down to 122. Some of these things. Look at this, 194 to 124, 194 to 124. Holy cow! What did they do? What did they do? Maybe I misread their number. I thought they were up. They reported sees revenue EPS 515 to, so this is their guidance. Missed lowest estimate. Shares fall 31.8%. Wow. What else had earnings today? I feel like I'm missing a couple because there was a few other ones. Oh, Intuit was another one that reported. We'll go through a couple more here. This one is tough. Somebody asked me about Intuit earlier. You know, what I look at as well, whether or not I'm going to take a name, is if it's just run up too much. This Intuit has done the same thing, maybe to a lesser extent. So it's just run too far for me to play it. Now, if it was in here into consolidation, yeah, I would take a look at it. Same thing with this Keys. I mean, look at this thing, 66 to 81 in a straight line. I was joking around about this thing. Let's see where they had good numbers, but I don't even know if that's going to be enough. I mean, they are trading up here, but who knows what they do. I would think that there would be some profit taking along the way in this one. Oh, Roku, of course. I forgot that one. Roku was implying about, a 14%. You can see Keys is actually coming in. Roku was implying a big move as well. I was looking to sell premium. I just didn't do it. I don't like to have more than 2 earnings trades. But what did they do? Second quarter EPS 93 to 99, estimated 92. So I don't think anything bad. Oh, this is Keysight. Sorry. The Keysights were good. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Roku's numbers, I don't think were that bad. They had sold off into the number. But I don't really like to play these names that I know it seems like they're kind of, I don't mean to say this in a bad way, but they're retail names. Retail momentum traders love to play these names, but for earnings, they're just implying too much. If I would have did the trade that I wanted to, I would have made money by selling a call spread, selling a put spread. But I just really didn't want to manage it. But I know everybody wants to know, what do you think Roku's going to, you know, these names move on a lot of these names move on momentum. And then for earnings, you know, they're kind of duds. And they're great to sell premium, you know, if you can kind of get your arms around that. So let's talk about what the market did today. Down a little bit. You know, it's funny. I don't know. It's not that I try to make fun of people on Twitter, but I just think it's kind of ridiculous. I see just a lot of people talking about the market down a lot today. Guys, we can't go up in a straight. I hope everybody knows that the market's not going to go up in a straight line, other than like that name Keys, which is pretty impressive. But you know, at this point, I mean, if you follow the RSI, which is what I do for the major indices, when they get oversold, when they get overbought, it's usually an area to be a little bit more conservative. So this is not rocket science, but you know, the IWM was a 77 RSI. So, you know, what else are you looking for at this point? Now, sure, you know, I think we talked about in last night's video that maybe we could see a rotation out of some growth momentum names and into some more, you know, material names, which we saw yesterday. Clearly, we did not see that follow through today. You know, if you look at energy names, those were XOP, OIH were down 2.7% today. Gold, which was the big hit the last couple days. I'll tell you, this gold trade, I always say, is such a tough trade. GDX was down 1.6% today. The bios, which is where we've seen a lot of put buying in. I think usually the put buyers tend to go after XBI because it really moves. Sometimes it, just like IWM leads to the upside and leads to the downside. I also think biotech moves kind of the first. We did also see we've seen a lot of put buying in the software names, which again, this shouldn't. I don't think this should surprise anybody, but these names I feel personally, and I basically got out of my last one today, which was HIIQ. You know, these names, if they pull in a little bit, you know, maybe to the 20 period moving average or 20-day moving average on the daily, they're gonna set up really nicely. But you just don't want to get caught holding these things when profit takers come in, right? I mean, it's only natural for people to take profits up here. Okta saw puts yesterday. Shopify saw puts today. I mean, it's kind of, some of these look a little bit toppy. Twilio had a great couple of days, but I wanted to see where that closed. That may just grind higher, Twilio, but who knows? So what did I do today? I took some trades off today. I made some nice money on this HIIQ. This name reports next week. My target was, and I think I went over this in yesterday's video, but right, it got close enough. Right, I mean, this is a trade we put on here. Nice 2 or 3 day trade in HIIQ. I also took off a few other names. Again, full transparency. Las Vegas Sands. It's just I talked about how we saw MLCO trade calls yesterday. I don't know. It just felt right to take a little bit of profits off in this and go a little bit into cash. So I like to practice what I preach, right? If I think that the market looks a little bit toppy, do I want the market to continue higher? Absolutely. And I think one of the things that also may throw some people off is you may not have, you know, going back to this IWM and being overbought, it doesn't necessarily mean that we turn back and go lower. We're still holding the short-term moving averages, so there's no sell signal here. It just means that we may kind of stall for a little bit for a few days. And I don't have a crystal ball, but it just seems a logical place to kind of take some profits. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the outcomes is that, you know, 3 different outcomes, right? Is 1, we can continue to grind higher. 2, we could kind of digest and chop around. Or 3, we could go lower. But I think a lot of people don't think about option number 2, the fact that we could just grind a little bit and process some of those gains and burn off the overbought levels and then resume going higher. I think some people I see on Twitter, they're like, oh, we're going lower. What is telling you that in your crystal ball that we're going to go lower? Again, I try to let the price show me that first, and I don't have anything other than us being, you know, overbought on the RSI, but we haven't lost it again. We haven't lost any of the short-term moving averages. So you could try to, you know, be smart and cute and short here, but I don't really see anything other than probably some profit taking that we might see. I know there's, you know, maybe people are anticipating an MACD bearish crossover, you know. So what I do is basically just take off some trades and kind of let things materialize a little bit until I feel a little bit more comfortable. I took off Square today. Square reports next week. I just kind of got a little bit of frustration. You know, you're allowed to get frustrated with trades. This was a trade that I made some nice money in about a month ago, but I've been kind of playing around with this thing, and it just hasn't done anything. And I saw some puts go up in Square, and I said, all right, that's enough. You know, might as well just, I feel a lot better as well, you know, taking the position off rather than, you know, pressing and saying, because again, I'm not going to hold the swing trade into earnings. So it does have some support here, you know, maybe a name that I go long for earnings next week. But yeah, that's basically it. What else did I do today? Let's see. Let's go to the trades. I traded a little bit of Pepsi today. I'll give you a couple of other charts that I was looking at. Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of names like Coca-Cola came back today. There are a lot of value type names. McDonald's, which I'm long a small call spread, really started to do well. I was able to take a target in this one. This is a chart I'm watching. Take a look at Alcoa. It is really getting coiled in terms of the moving averages, right? The 5, 20, and the 50-day moving average all intertwined here. So I took a small shot on Alcoa, possibly going higher here. I also did add a trade, while I sold more than I added today, but I put on a trade in ISRG. I like what it's been doing here. If you go over to the 1 hour, really a nice version point of control that's up here that I'm kind of shooting for. Shooter. This is at 572.5, right? So again, what is a virgin point of control in 10 seconds? It's an area where a lot of buyers and sellers have previously met up and price has not returned, right? There was one up here. We took it out and digested. And now the next one that I see is up here. Again, it doesn't mean, basically what will happen is the magnetic force, what I like to refer to it as, will get stronger the closer you get to it. So it's still pretty far away, but I set up a call spread to try to take advantage of that level if we could go back there. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Again, don't go crazy with seeing, if we see a little bit of red on the screen, it doesn't mean that the world is going to end. It's healthy, I think, for that to happen. It shakes some people out too, right? Which is not a bad thing. And it burns off those overbought levels. And then if we start to kind of move below the short-term moving averages, then the trend is changing, but not yet. It just looks like we've gotten a little bit overbought. All right, guys, have a great night. See you tomorrow.